All right, now the way I make queso is gonna freak you out a little bit because I think most of you probably do this and this and you call it a day. Queso. And that's fine. This is a perfectly good way to make queso if that's the way you do it. Before I had Polish pottery, I always made it, hey Linda, well thank you, hey Melinda. I always made it in this big roaster, okay? Hold on, I'm gonna show you my roaster. Well, I don't know where the roaster is. Hold on. Okay, the roaster's gone. Oh, maybe I sent the roaster to Philip in the townhouse. I must have. Anyway, I had this big black roaster that you would make a roast in, right? It looked like camping, you know, like if the camping dishes, that's what it looked like. But it was my grandmother's, and that's what she always made a roast in. And that's what I made the queso in. So I dumped everything into that big roaster and put it in the oven, and then I'd give it, you know, like every 5 minutes or so, I'd go in and give it a stir. That's how I made my queso. Now, a lot of people do it in their slow cooker. Some people do it on the stovetop. All of those things are fine. I just really wanted to give you another option, right? And since we're doing 2 different kinds, so you get 2 more options. All right, so here we're gonna start. The first ingredient is gonna throw you for a loop. I know that it is, I can't help it, but I'll explain. The first is a can of cream of chicken soup. I know, you're going, what? That is so not right. But I'm gonna tell you it is right, and you will like it. Hold on, and now I'm gonna need a can of milk. Milk? Yes, a can of milk. Can of milk. Okay, there we go. In it goes. Now, because I'm making 2 different kinds of queso, I'm dividing my cheese and this mixture into 2 different ones. Okay, so now I'm gonna whisk this up just so we don't have clump o' soup, right? So that we have a nice, yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. Now, if you're a spice person, I don't know if you're a spice person, hold on. My whole, let's just be, well, crud, there it is. Okay, be prepared. I was a Girl Scout, but there you go. If you're a spice person and you like some extra flavor, add a little cumin, you know, give it a few shakes. Remember, this makes a bunch. And some smoked paprika. Those are my like go-to Mexican flavors. The smokiness is just to die for. Okay, so I'm gonna give that a whisk just to get those spices mixed up so they're not just sitting on the top. All right, so can you see? There you go. It's a can of cream of chicken soup, a can of milk, and then some cumin, ground cumin, and some ground smoked paprika. There we go. Okay, now, I'm gonna make the boys first. I'm gonna make the boys first because it has a lot more stuff in it, okay? My girls do not like meat in their queso. They do not like beans in their queso. They're very persnickety about their queso, which is fine because I know how to sneak stuff in that makes it taste good, and they just don't care and they don't know. So I'm gonna use a big bowl and I'm gonna pour in half my soup and milk spice mixture, okay? This is the boys. This is the boys. Now, when I make ours, I'm gonna make it in the pot. I'm not gonna use a big bowl like that because I have a covered dish like this, and this is what I'm gonna put in the oven for us, okay? But I only own 1 of these. I know, you're going, what? You only own 1? Yes, I only own 1 of these. And so for the boys, and especially because there's so much more stuff in it, I'm using this covered dish. So it's long, whereas the other one is like a taller stock pot, okay? Okay, so the boys are gonna be first. All right, so in here, I'm gonna add a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, otherwise known as Rotel, or, you know, whatever you got. Interestingly enough, hey Debbie, there you go, hello. Interestingly enough, this particular can says bonus, up to 45% free. I don't know why they're doing that, but I'm okay with that. Do drain the tomatoes. We don't want this soupy. We want this creamy, but not like soupy, okay? So this is the boys, and I'm putting the whole thing in here. Dump, dump, dump. Okay, the whole can, drained tomatoes. The next thing I'm putting in is right about 2 cups of hamburger meat. Now this is cooked with taco seasoning. If you've been with us from the beginning, then you watch the show called Hamburger Magic, one of my favorite things to do. So I don't cook hamburger meat in a skillet so that it's sitting in all that grease and getting disgusting. I cook my hamburger meat in a steamer, and so the hamburger meat cooks, and then all that fat runs through the little holes in the steamer thing and down into the water. And then I put in some taco seasoning or whatever seasoning I want, or no seasoning, except for salt and pepper. And then I pour it out on a half sheet pan and let it cool. And then I bag it up into little 2-cup baggies. So I get a quart-sized baggie and put 2 cups of hamburger meat in each one. That gives us enough for tacos, quesadillas, whatever. And it gives us enough for queso, okay? So now I have 2 cups of cooked hamburger meat with a taco seasoning on there. Just the little packages of taco seasoning. Or if you have a seasoning in your pantry that says Mexican seasoning or taco seasoning or whatever. Okay, so we're dumping the meat in. Hello, meat. I think I'm taking the whisk away right now. Now, if you were with us a couple of days ago, after our ham, this was on Tuesday, we made beans. We made homemade pinto beans from scratch. I have leftover. See how you can cook once and then not have to cook again? So that hamburger meat, I just took it out of the freezer and defrosted it a little bit in the microwave. Don't. Leftover beans, and these beans already have Rotel in them. They're seasoned. They have a lot of ham in them. Ham, in your case, it's going to be lovely. So it's all good. And so I'm using what I have in my refrigerator because, I don't want anything to go to waste. All right, so I'm dumping the beans in. And again, about 2 cups. 2 cups. If you don't have that, use a can of pinto beans. If you want the beans, use a can of pinto beans. Just drain. Just remember to drain. Okay, now I'm going to give this a stir. And you're like, Cindy, where's the cheese? I got the cheese. Don't worry. I got your cheese. I got your cheese. Hey, I got your cheese. Okay, I'm giving this a stir. Now, I'm just going to dump this. Hey, Maddie. Your tamale pie was very good. I'm glad. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Doris. I love my pottery, too. Maddie, I'm sorry I wasn't on the live Klein Independent School District call, but I figured they were just going to say, we care about you, and we have no idea what's going on, and we'll get back with you. So anyway, I didn't watch. All right, so I'm whether you're cooking it in something like this, or something like this, or a roasting pan. Whatever, I like stuff with a lid. You can do it with foil, but remember, we're gonna be taking it off and doing stirring a lot. So really better if you can find something that you can put in the oven that has a lid, okay? Now watch, there's all the good yumminess. I'm just dumping it all in there. Ooh, yum. Okay, so it's all in there. I'm gonna smooth it out. Okay. Basically, that's what he said. Yeah, I figured. When you do taco meat, do you add water to it? No, I don't. So, and the info about seniors is coming out soon. Good, I need to know that. Marion, so on the Hamburger Magic video, if you go back and watch that, I get a steamer pot, where it has the basket with the holes in it, and I put about that much water in the bottom of the pot, bring that to a boil. Put the steamer pot on top, put my hamburger meat in there, and put the lid on it. And about every 5 minutes, I take the lid off, take my wooden spoon, and just smash, so I'm breaking up the hamburger meat. Put the lid back on. You can go ahead and do salt and pepper then. You keep doing that till it's done, or at least almost done. Then you get your taco seasoning and then put it in there, and then give it a stir. Let it steam just a little bit longer, so it's getting that in there, and then when it's done, pour it out onto a cookie sheet to cool. And then you've got, now when I do that, I do like big old tube o meat. So it's like 5 pounds or 8 pounds, I don't know how much is in one of those tubes. But so I make a lot at a time so I can do stuff like this. just pull it out of the freezer and go, and I don't have to cook anything. All right, cheese. We need our cheese. Okay. So here's what I did. I'm using Velveeta. Now, that being said, I know that you know that almost everything I use is a store brand, right? Because I'm cheap and lazy, right? But so almost everything I use is a store brand because there's no difference. I mean, cream of chicken soup is cream of chicken soup, right? So really, most things, not a difference, except this. There is a difference. There is a difference. It's just the texture's wrong, the taste isn't there. Maybe not to you, so maybe if you're okay with it, I don't want to discourage you, but for me, the taste just isn't there. So I have to stick with this. And quite frankly, this stuff is expensive. This stuff is pricey. I don't know the last time you bought this, the big one. Tell me how much it was wherever you live. Because this was between $7 and $8. $7 and $8 for cheese. So when was the last time you bought this? Tell me how much you paid. I'm interested to know if it's a Houston thing because we're having queso withdrawals. Not your cheese. Nacho cheese. Ha ha ha. Is it just sprinkle the seasoning package? Yes, Marion. Never be cheap on cheese. I know, but anyway, so I took the block and I just cut it in chunks. So you want to see about how big? What I did is I cut it once this way, then I flipped it, I cut it once this way, and then I cut down so you can see that's about the size that I cut the cheese. I cut the cheese. Okay, sorry. I'm 12, aren't I? I'm 12. Now, remember, I'm doing 2 different quesos, so I'm only going to put half of this in here. Now, you can stir it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the top and kind of smush it. Yes, with my fingers. Somebody's going to say, with your fingers? Yes, with my fingers. I'm putting it in there. Okay, so I'm smushing this in here. So that cream of chicken soup and the milk that you probably turned your nose up to is really going to add to the creaminess of your queso. You're not going to taste cream of chicken soup. You probably won't even taste it. But it also helps it so it doesn't glom up so much. $7.49 in Minnesota. Yeah, $7 to $9 there. Hey, Bitsa, how are you? Yeah, so it's like, that's pricey. That's a lot. Okay, now, we really want this cheesy, so don't get all stingy. We really want to use, like if you're doing this, you're going to use the whole thing. I'm dividing up, but I want to make sure I get at least half. The other thing is you don't have to put it on top like this. I'm doing this because it's a long, like this. You can just stir it in. Like, you know when I stirred everything together? You can do that, okay? All right, this is what mine looks like right now. See? Ta and da. I'm going to put the lid on it. That'll go in the oven. Like I said, 350 degrees. About every 5 minutes, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to take a spoon, and I'm going to give it a stir. Because, you know, that Velveeta is like, right? And I want it all mixy together. I don't want, you know, I don't want beans and all the good stuff and then this blobbo cheese. I want it all mixed together. So, anyway, queso number 1, complete. Hamburger meat, pinto beans, cream of chicken soup, a can of milk. If you want, the meat should be seasoned with taco seasoning. You can add some extra cumin, add some extra smoked paprika, and a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, okay? And your cheese, Velveeta cheese on top. There you go. Ta-da! That's the first one. Now, for my husband's, I would normally, which I'm not doing today because I don't have any, but he likes it spicy. So normally, I would add in like a half a jar, if I'm making it separate, a half a jar of sliced jalapenos. But I don't have any here. So, no. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? I also buy Velveeta sauce packets. Oh, well, yeah, you could do that, 5 something in a box. Hadn't thought about that. I don't know if it's as good a deal or not, but we could try that. Okay, now for the girls. This is for me and the girls. All right, so I'm using this pot with the lid, okay? In the oven. Remember, none of this stuff goes on the stovetop. No, no, no. Dishwasher, microwave, freezer, oven, but not on the stovetop. Okay. So where did we start the last time? We're gonna start the exact same place, and that was the other half of the cream of chicken soup and the milk in our seasonings, okay? So that, and I'm just gonna mix everything in this pot because this pot is upright and it gives me, you know, I can stir well. All right, now remember on our other, then we added meat and beans. My girls are like, no. But here's what I do add. And it adds a little color and it has a little protein, but they don't really care or know. A can of chili. Now this is chili with no beans because if they saw the beans, bad things would happen. Do you hear I'm whispering? I'm whispering so the girls don't hear. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump this in here. I have to tell you, canned chili always looks like dog food. Yeah, I mean, that's so bad to say. I mean, it tastes fine, I'm sure, but it looks gross. It's kind of like hot dog chili. I love hot dog chili, but it just looks gross. All right, just to make it easier to mix up, I mean, I could use my spatula, but I'm just gonna give this I'm gonna break it up and mix it in with my soup. Hey, so again, I just wanted to apologize in case you're just coming on. I wanted to apologize if you were watching yesterday and you saw my totally screwed up lacy cookie mix that I used the entirely wrong recipe. So if you want to make those lacy cookies, please don't watch me. Please just get the recipe that I put in the comments. It's so much better. Hello, Boo Pat. How are you? Hey, Tammy. Tammy's in Oklahoma. Hey, Floyd. Floyd's in Oklahoma. I'm glad you've been trying them. Good. Okay. Now look how creamy that looks. Oh, so good. All right. So that's our cream of chicken soup, our milk, and our can of chili. Now, normally I would use another can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, but so that you see that there are options, just in case you don't have that in your pantry, this is just picante sauce, like a mild picante sauce. So this can is 14 ounces, but the other one is normally 10. So I'm gonna pour, let's say, a cup. Oh well, there you go. Who wants to put the picante sauce back in with like a tablespoon in there? Nobody. Okay, so I'm gonna give that a stir. Yum. Wait, I'm gonna give that a whisk. Sometimes, like with liquid stuff, it's just easier to use the whisk. It just happens faster. Okay, it's a pretty color. Oh, it's a pretty color. And now we add our cheese. Now, remember last time I kind of layered it on there? Not necessary at all. You just dump that cheese in there because we're gonna give it a stir. Yep, you don't have to, most of my recipes, you've noticed, I'm sure, are really just dump recipes. That sounds bad, not like going to the dump, but I mean, you gather the ingredients, you make sure you have what you have, you gather everything up, and then you just dump it in a pot. And to me, I think food can still taste good. It's still homemade. You're still putting your love into the food, but you're not all stressed out about, you know, are there shallots that, you know, do you have shallots or do you have, you know, some funky weird thing, and do you know how to chiffonade, although I can teach you, you know, stuff like that. So I'm gonna use my spatula and just give this a stir. Oh, see my cheese in there? And it's it's like a brown color. I know you're going brown, but remember that Velveeta cheese is gonna melt in there, and so we're gonna get much lighter, and then nobody will know the difference, and everybody will go, ooh, ah. Okay, that's it. That's it. We're gonna put the lid on it. I'm gonna put it in the oven, 350 degrees. Again, just like the other one. About every 5 minutes, I'm gonna open the door, I'm gonna take the lid off, and I'm gonna give it a stir, because as our Velveeta chunks melt, we want it all incorporated, we want all ooey gooey. When is it done, Cindy? Okay, now remember that both in the one that I made the boys that has meat and beans and rotel in it, and in this one that has no meat and no beans, but it has chili and picante sauce, everything is cooked. There's nothing raw, nothing that's gonna hurt you, nothing that's gonna make you sick. All of these things are already cooked. So if you screw up and you take it out too early, the worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna have a blob of unmelted Velveeta cheese, which is kind of gross, but you know. Can you remind me, beans are about to start cooking. Can you remind me low or high temperature on the crock pot? I don't make beans in the crock pot, Maddie, but I would say put them on high for at least an hour and then turn them down for, well, maybe do high for 2 hours and then turn them down for 3, because I cook mine, I bring it to a boil and then I cook them for 3 hours on low. So anyway, they are perfect, especially for me, fast and easy. Thank you. Hey, Larissa, how are you? My little Texas girl. Tracy. Hello, Tracy. I went to high school with Tracy. Good to see you. Anyway, so our 2 quesos are completed. You're not going to hurt anybody. The thing you're looking for, how do you know that it's ready? The way you know that it's ready is all the Velveeta is melted. It's all melted. It's all incorporated. You've got this ooey gooey yummy yumminess ready to serve. For dinner, Cindy? Come on. It has meat and beans and cheese and dairy. How can this not be good for you? Do you need a grain? There's your grain. I think we have covered all of the food groups. Vegetable or fruit. Tomatoes. We put tomatoes in there. That's a fruit. See, we have covered the entire nutritional pyramid today in queso. So anyway, the boys are gonna get a bag of chips and queso tonight. So there's our 2 different kinds of queso. All right, I'm gonna move this over here and clean up my mess just a little bit. If you wouldn't mind, just so I know that people are here, I'm not selling anything. So you guys who know me know that I'm not selling anything, ever. I'm not, I'm just cooking. So it's not a problem if you say hello or if you make a comment, but it would be great. Just, you know, kind of give me a thumbs up or a heart so that I know that you're here and that you're live. That would be good. Okay. See, no thumbs up. You guys are all dead? No. Are you dead? Oh, there we go. There's a couple hearts. Okay. It's not hard. It doesn't track your every move, although maybe it does. I don't know. Okay. This is going away. All my dirty stuff. Dirty stuff. Hold on. Eek. Dirty bowls. All right. I'm moving this. Ta-da. Oh, wait. Okay. Dirty stuff is gone. Now I have to clean. I made a mess. I have chili. Okay. Now we have to make dessert. Hey, Eileen. Oh, Eileen. Hey, Sharmalee. It's Sharmalee's birthday. Happy birthday. Hey, Shelly. Hey, Shelly. Tracy Philomunde's on. Of course, she has a new name. We all only know each other by our maiden names. Hey, Shelly, Tracy's on. Tracy, Shelly's on. We all went to high school together. Hi. Okay. All right, so our next recipe is dessert. Dessert. And again, an easy one. When I made the homemade chocolate pudding yesterday, the warm chocolate pudding, somebody asked me about butterscotch pudding. And I, do butterscotch pudding like fake. Butterscotch, instant, but I didn't really have a recipe for like a homemade butterscotch pudding. I'm sure I could figure it out if I thought about it, but I did have a recipe for what I call ButterScotchies. ButterScotchies, yum! Anyway, so if you like butterscotch, you're gonna love this. We are starting out with a yellow cake mix. Can you see this is the store brand? You can use whatever you want. Oh, hearts. Thank you. Okay, yellow cake mix. Okay, so tell me if you're watching, what is your favorite sweet flavor? So like vanilla, chocolate, butterscotch, pistachio, banana, lemon, whatever. So just type what you got. Let's see. Oh, I need my scissors. Here we go. Kitchen scissors. Okay, so we're just gonna dump a yellow cake mix. Any brand. It can say with pudding, without pudding. I'm cheap, I'm expensive. Hi, Phyllis from Pennsylvania. Good to see you. Hey, Jim from Massachusetts. Good to see you. All right, so yellow cake mix. We got a yellow cake mix in there. Okay, The next thing, can you get me a fork, please? The next thing we're gonna add, we're not following the directions. It is my favorite Rebecca Gingler, the queen of Polish pottery. You missed a bunch that we used earlier. Hey, Ann, chocolate, duh. Of course, chocolate I think is one of my favorites too. So we've started off, hey now, all of them, I like that. We'll have Kat be the hero again. Kat can make this very easily. Okay, so yellow cake mix, any kind, any brand. Dump that sucker in there. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Light brown, dark brown. What's the difference again? Dark brown sugar has more molasses in it. That's what makes it darker, kind of a heavier taste. This is light brown sugar, all right? So we're dumping 1/4 cup of light brown sugar from my pretty bowl. Hey, Janet Johnson. Cherry. Okay, well, that's good. Oh, Julie. Hey, Julie. Caramel. I agree. Caramel is good. Chocolate and caramel is good. Phyllis chocolate, also caramel. Okay. We're then going to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I used to watch Ina Garten, and she's great, and I love her recipes. But she would always say when it came to vanilla, a good vanilla. A good vanilla. Nope, I'm using the crappy vanilla. No, so actually I'm using the cheap vanilla. So there we go. My friend didn't, I've said this before, but my friend who goes on the Living Waters trips didn't get to go to Haiti this year. And last year when he went to Haiti, he brought me this phenomenal Haitian vanilla, and I'm out. So now I'm using bad vanilla, cheap vanilla, not, as Ina would say, a good vanilla. So, all right, 1 teaspoon of whatever kind of vanilla you have. These are like soy sauce bowls. Look at these. Look how little they are. They're like soy sauce bowls, which are great if you're having dumplings, you know, or teriyaki sauce. But I love these when I'm cooking because as I'm measuring everything out, if I need, you know, a teaspoon of something or even a tablespoon fits in here fine. You know, a couple tablespoons is fine. But it's so good to measure out and not have to use huge bowls for all of that. Okay, so we have a cake mix. We have 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Oh, the only thing I didn't say is pack it. So, you know, it's one thing like when you do flour and you put it in there, you probably do this. You don't necessarily push it down. But when you're doing brown sugar, so that you get enough, it's not just like the scoop, okay, there's brown sugar. You want to put it in there and then push it down. And then make sure you fill it all the way to the top. Lots and lots of brown sugar goodness. Okay, there we go. All right, the next thing we're gonna need are 2 eggs. 2 eggs. People are gonna say, use large eggs. You know what, use whatever eggs you have. Come on, we're not gonna go to the, if you don't have large eggs, you can't work. That's not a good thing. Okay, 1 egg. Whoops. Come on, 2 eggs. That was a big one. I think it was a large egg. Cute. Hey, Jane Rutt, how are you doing? Love the dragonfly. Made my own vanilla and it turned out great. I can totally tell. You know what? You tell me, you send me the stuff. Julia Hampton made some too with the vanilla bean and the vodka, and it was so good. But I used up all that too. Okay, so we have 2 eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and take a fork and just whisk them up again a little bit, like you're making scrambled eggs. We're not making scrambled eggs. You should have already had your breakfast. Do you know what I had for breakfast? I mean, I told you that my oldest daughter went to Starbucks and got me the medicine ball tea because my throat was a little sore. So she went and got me the medicine ball and it was so good. Okay, scrambled eggs. I still had Mexican cornbread left on top of the stove. I had Mexican cornbread for breakfast. It was so good. All right. So in our bowl, the eggs. All right, so let's give that a stir. Hold on 1 second. Oh, can you get my butter? That's what I'm missing. Okay, now we got 2 eggs in there. Now you're going, but Cindy, that's not enough liquid. Are we putting oil in there? Are we putting milk in there? Nope. We are going to put a stick of melted butter. Oh, yes. So the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of melted butter. So if you're not a cook, if you don't cook a whole lot and you say, oh, I have to melt butter and then pour it in a measuring cup to figure out how, no. A stick of butter is a half a cup. 2 sticks of butter is 1 cup. So there you go. The one-handed egg cracker. There you go. Jane, do a video for Cindy's Kitchen. There you go. Never a bad time to eat cornbread. It didn't go well. Janet, the best way if you're doing it one-handed, so some people do a light tap. You do a light tap. That doesn't work. You have to get it down. So you can't go smash because then it smashed everywhere. But it has to be, it can't be a light tap. You have to be firm with your egg. Be firm with the egg. Crack, darn you. We're going in this recipe. Crack. And so there you go. Okay, so a half a cup, 1 stick of melted butter. In we go. In we go. Yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. For a long time, this was my favorite pattern. Isn't that pretty? Burberry green. Doesn't that just look festive? And one of the reasons it was one of my favorites is because it had purple. I mean, the berries, it says burgundy, but it looks a little purple to me. Okay, now, instructions will tell you to put this in your mixer and mix it with your mixer, like on medium, until everything is incorporated. But you know, I did something with the mixer the other day, and it's so darn loud. So I decided I'm just using my whisk. I mean, don't get me wrong, the hand mixer would be much easier because, you know, hello. It's thick. It's not a thin batter. This is a thick batter. But basically, you want to make sure you get all the bits, the lumps of cake batter and the lumps of brown sugar fully incorporated. Now look at that, it's stuck. Come out, I say. Out, out, darn spot. Shakespeare did not say darn, but there you go. Come on. Okay, good enough. All right, now I'm gonna get a spatula because now is the time for loveliness. Ready? Getting my spatula. 1 cup, or however many you like, but 1 cup of butterscotch chips. So now between the brown sugar and the vanilla, that's gonna melt and be lovely in here, that whole stick of butter, that's just, butter makes everything better. Now we're adding, oh, that smells good, a whole cup of butterscotch chips. Yay! Okay, in we go. Now, if you're using your hand mixer, probably not a good idea to put the butterscotch chips in with your hand mixer. I mean, it's okay. The only thing that's really gonna happen, although things may fly, the only thing that's really gonna happen is that the beaters of your hand mixer may break up the butterscotch chips. And if you don't really care about that, I suppose it's okay. Okay, so this is what our dough looks like. Look how lovely that is. It's a very thick dough, chocked full of butterscotch chips. There you go. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my pan. You can get, for this, you can get a 9x13. You're gonna preheat your oven to 350. You can get a 9x13, which is fine, but I like my square pan. I'm just a little snarky, aren't I? But I like the square pan. It's just different than, you know, everything being rectangle. So this is my big square pan. How big, you ask? Ooh, I gotta get the ruler. How big, you ask? So I will tell you, this is, Rebecca showed these on her Facebook Live last night. She has another one tonight at 6 o'clock. This is, yeah, it's 10x10, and it is about almost 2 inches tall, about 1.5 inches. Perfect. If you do not have this and you're using a 9x13, make sure you give it a spray. Psst. Of course, it's Polish pottery. I don't have to give it a spray, but you give it a spray, okay? And then we're just going to pour that out into our dish. Oh my goodness. It's all I can do not to just eat the dough. Do you ever make cookie dough and then say, nope, I'm not making the cookies. I'm just gonna eat the dough. Have you ever done that? Anybody? Come on, be honest. Getting ready to make homemade blue cheese dressing for my wings. Oh, yum. I'm coming to your house. I am coming to your house. All right, so now all we have to do is spread it all the way out in your pan. You can do this with a spatula, with a spoon, or with your fingers. If you do it with your fingers, there's a surprise at the end. Although I have a spatula, and so there may be a surprise for me at the end too. Okay, smush it all out. We want it level. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's my kitchen. Has anything been perfect yet? I mean, the cookies. Would you bring those cookies over? Okay, so this is it. Look at that. It's all in there. We're gonna put it in 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes. Remember when I say about, I don't know how hot your oven cooks. I don't know, do you have a convection oven? I don't know if it's old or new or whatever. Rebecca sells Polish pottery. Yes, could you add me to her site? You have sold me with all your prettiness. Deborah, if you will just go to morepolishpottery.com. Okay, that's it. If you go there, you can, on Facebook, you can look up More Polish Pottery on Facebook and you'll look at her fan page. And if you'll follow her, I don't know if you, follow her and then hit the turn the notifications on, you'll get a notification every time she has a Facebook Live. And like I said, there's one at 6 o'clock tonight. But she also has a fantastic website that you can order off of as well. Anyway, so here we go. About 30 minutes. You want to make sure that if you stick the toothpick in, it comes out clean. So good. Oh, so good. All right, so that's going in the oven. Now, if you came on late, I just want to, I know I've done it twice. I know I've already apologized twice. But I have to say, I was simply mortified. Simply mortified that I spent 15, 20 minutes telling you a recipe that was entirely wrong. So again, this is what the cookie looked like with the recipe that we made online. You see, the edges are a little brown. It almost looks right, but not. And it tastes good. I mean, it tastes great. It's fine, but it is not a lacy. That is not a lacy. That is an oatmeal cookie. It's a flat oatmeal cookie, but it's an oatmeal cookie. That was the wrong one. If you made it according to the instructions, the recipe that I posted in the comments, this is what it's supposed to look like. You see how it looks like lace? How you can see through it, the little holes, and you see how thin it is? That is a lacy. You see it? That's what it should look like. No. Yes. No. I mean, this was good and I'm gonna eat it, but these are to die for. To die for. The biggest thing I can tell you about, hey Terry, when you make these is whatever you do, if you've never made these before, use a tiny little amount, It says a half a teaspoon. Look at this. That is a half a teaspoon. Okay, compared to tablespoon. Can you see? So see how big the tablespoon is? See how small the half is? Use the half a teaspoon. And don't put them close together because it spreads. Can you tell? You see how big they spread out? So if you put too much, you're gonna have a cookie sheet and it's gonna be one big lace cookie, which if you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you want something that actually looks like a lace cookie, and you can tell when I got two that were too close together, here, look at that, funky. That was like one over here and one over here, and they got too close together. But this is what they're supposed to look like if you do it right. Okay, we made two different kinds of quesos today. One with meat and beans and Rotel tomatoes, and the other one with salsa and a can of chili. Of course, Rotel in both. And we added a can of cream of chicken soup with a can of milk. I know, oh my. Anyway, and of course, our Velveeta cheese in there. And that's gonna bake in our oven until all the cheese is yumminess. And we're just gonna serve it with chips. And that's our dinner. Because really we had meat, we had beans, there's our protein. We had tomatoes, which is a fruit. So we got our fruit. We had milk, so we had dairy. And now we have our grain. We have covered the food pyramid. So you can use whatever kind of chips you like. That's what we're having for dinner. And then for dessert, we're having ButterScotchies. ButterScotchies. Anyway, so that's what we're having. Please, if you thought that these recipes were fun, something that you like and something that your friends would like, I ask that when this is over, that you would give this video a share so that we can share the love, sprinkle the love. That's what somebody says, don't share it, sprinkle it. Anyway, sprinkle the love. If you're interested in any Polish pottery, my friend Rebecca, who owns More Polish Pottery, is doing a Facebook Live tonight. Look at that pattern. That pattern is called Happiness. Does it make you happy? It makes me happy. She's doing a Facebook Live tonight at 6 o'clock. So all you have to do is go to her page and follow her, and then you'll get a notification. So good. Thanks, Bess. Thanks, Jessica. All right, you guys have a lovely day. Tonight, your kitchen will smell like it's almost time for us to go back to Mexican restaurants. Oh, the people in Texas are dying down here. So I'm hoping this helps you get your fix. And then you've got a little something for your sweet tooth, because your kitchen is gonna smell like butterscotch, and it's gonna be oh so good. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Bye.